For years, the community has questioned how the Dragon Ball timeline would change if a single moment shifted. Whether that be Goku ascending to Super Saiyan as a child or a villain emerging victorious from a battle they were destined to lose. While Xenoverse offered some glimpses into these alternative worlds, the brief snippets often left fans wanting more. So today we are diving deeper into those what-if scenarios through the community's Sparking Zero custom battles. As always, if you have a scenario of your own you'd like to see featured, leave a comment down below for a future video. And as always, make sure to support the creators posting their own scenarios so we can keep the momentum of this game mode going. That's enough yapping, let's jump into this first one. We start this story in an overlooked part of the timeline. Garlic Jr. has won. During his clash with Goku and Piccolo, the Dead Zone opens and swallows Earth's defenders. With the planet's strongest warriors gone, nothing remains to challenge him. After a year of Garlic Jr.'s tyrannical reign, humanity is reduced to little more than fuel for his ego, now forced to serve a ruler who cannot be killed. Much like the original timeline, Raditz touches down on a very desolate world, expecting to find his brother's conquest, but instead he finds a tyrant standing in his place. Garlic Jr. greets him with a power level so small that Raditz almost laughs, but that conversation between the two doesn't last long. The two clash and the difference in strength becomes very obvious. Raditz possesses the raw power that would normally defeat this demon, but his strikes aren't doing any long-lasting damage against an eternal body. Exploiting the stalemate, Garlic Jr. opens the Dead Zone once more, dragging the Saiyan into the same dimension that claimed Earth's heroes. We jump ahead a few years. Two more Saiyan space pods arrive on Earth. Nappa and Vegeta were listening in and are coming down to test out this foe. Nappa's dismissive of Garlic Jr.'s low power level and deploys the Cybermen to do his dirty work, but even they fall to the supernatural resilience of this Demon King. Now it's Nappa's turn. Annoyed that something so weak continues to stand, the battle unfolds much like Raditz did. Nappa's strength dominates the battle, but the fight never moves towards an ending. Garlic Jr.'s immortality keeps him standing, and eventually the Dead Zone returns once more, claiming Nappa. Vegeta watching on as his partner begins to vanish. The final confrontation is here, and Garlic Jr. chips away at the prince, banking on his immortality to outlast a vastly superior foe. Driven to a state of almost primal rage by his inability to draw blood, Vegeta undergoes the Great Ape transformation. Garlic Jr. attempts to manifest the Dead Zone one last time, but Vegeta meets this vacuum with the sheer overwhelming pressure of his Galick Gun. The force of that blast pushing Garlic Jr. right into the void. The Dead Zone closes behind him, leaving Vegeta alone on the battlefield as the victor. The story ends with the to be continued on the screen. That leaves a lot of directions that this could go. Now in the anime, Garlic Jr. escaped the Dead Zone when the Makio star came nearby. That same window could appear again here. If Garlic Jr. finds his way out, the Saiyans and Earth's original defenders might be forced into an uneasy alliance just to breach the walls of that dimension. But even if they do escape, what kind of Earth would still be waiting for them? Vegeta could have likely scorched the planet out of pure spite, or maybe Frieza's taking it over as a base of operations. Since Vegeta and Frieza remained ignorant on the Dragon Ball's existence, Namek stays a very peaceful sanctuary. Now, no matter what happens next, the future is looking very different, and I really hope this story has a continuation in the future. We flash back to the day of the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai. Krillin's body has just been discovered. The celebration surrounding the tournament disappears in an instant. Goku stands over his fallen friend and the realization settles in quickly. Someone did this. Now driven by a level of grief this young boy has never known, he hunts down the assassin. What he finds is Tambourine, and when they finally clash, Goku's rage hits a breaking point, triggering the Super Saiyan transformation years ahead of schedule. Single overwhelming Kamehameha vaporizes the demon, leaving nothing but a scorched earth where the killer once stood. Now sensing the sudden extinction of his son's life force, King Piccolo arrives to investigate. He finds himself staring down a golden warrior whose power dwarfs his own. Now, you probably have noticed this already, but the creator had to improvise. Tambourine is represented by Majin Buu, and this version of King Piccolo is using Piccolo Jr. as a stand-in. At the time of recording this, the summer DLC has not been released yet, so creators were working with what the game had already offered. I always appreciate that kind of workaround. When certain characters aren't available yet, people still find ways to bring that story together using what exists in the roster. Now, despite the gap in strength, Piccolo challenges the boy only to be dismantled by the Saiyan's raw speed and force. In a departure from the usual grim ending of this scenario, Goku chooses to spare the old demon. He recognizes that Piccolo is utterly powerless to threaten him now, and leaving the Namekian to retreat into the shadows, defeated and humiliated by a child. With the immediate danger gone, Goku gathers the Dragon Balls and summons Shenron. Krillin is revived and the group reunites once more as the planet returns to peace. Now this entire story changes the future of Dragon Ball. Since this was the original King Piccolo, not a reincarnated Junior, the world is left with a much weaker Namekian presence, potentially leaving Kami in a state of deep concern over how to balance the new scales. The most dangerous ripple effect lies in the shadows of the Red Ribbon Army. Dr. Gero's bots have recorded a power level that shouldn't exist for a very long time. By witnessing a Super Saiyan this early, Gero's data will force him to accelerate his research, likely resulting in androids and a version of Cell designed specifically to combat a Super Saiyan from the very start. While the upcoming Saiyan invasion might seem just like a minor hurdle for Goku, the mechanical nightmare waiting in the future has just become significantly more lethal. Now this next one is an interesting take on an old story. The story follows the events of Battle of Gods for a while, with Bulma hosting a massive birthday celebration at Capsule Corp. Almost every member of the Dragon Team is present except for Goku, having stayed behind on King Kai's planet to train. In the time since the group's journey through the Demon Realm, we see a new dynamic forming between Majin Buu and Majin Buu. Their bond feels like a classic big brother-little brother relationship, and the creator did a fantastic job establishing that rapport. While they lounge at the party, Vegeta is nearby pushing his limits until a telepathic warning from King Kai cuts through his focus. Beerus, the god of destruction, is approaching. He's already defeated Goku and is now en route to Earth in search of the Super Saiyan God. While their initial encounter happens off screen, it's safe to assume Beerus neutralized Goku during his Super Saiyan 3 transformation. As for why he didn't utilize Super Saiyan 4, we'll dive into that further along. Vegeta rushes back to warn the others, but the arrival is already in motion. Beerus greets Vegeta, reminding him of their encounter during the Saiyan's childhood. Facing him here once again, Vegeta is struck by the memory of just how terrifying the Destroyer's presence truly is. Beerus takes notice of the festivities and joins in after learning it's Bulma's birthday. When he questions the prince about the Super Saiyan God, Vegeta is forced to admit he has no knowledge of such a being. The god of destruction is welcomed into the banquet, and for a moment that peace holds. The stability shatters when Majin Buu accidentally eats Beerus' wasabi roll, a single mistake that effectively signs the Earth's death warrant. Now enraged, Beerus decides the planet must be destroyed. Now this is where the creator's ingenuity really shines. Utilizing the mechanics of Sparking Zero to mimic a Marvel vs. Capcom style assist system, Majin Buu acts as a backup for Ku, appearing on the field to unleash his super attacks whenever the player calls for aid. The strategy here is to save those assists for when you truly need to escape a pinch. Once you use up all the supers and Buu's ultimate, Beerus will strike down both Majin Buu and Ku. Frustrated by the destruction of her party, Bulma confronts Beerus only for the god to reflectively strike her down. In a departure from the film where he simply powers up Super Saiyan 2, this version of the prince descends directly into Super Saiyan 3 to launch his assault. Now the objective here is to inflict as much damage as you can before Vegeta's sparking meter expires. Once that window closes, Beerus becomes an unstoppable force. Every punch he lands on Vegeta, your ki will be drained, leaving Vegeta almost completely vulnerable once everything's ran out. Eventually the exhaustion takes its toll and Vegeta collapses. Before Beerus can deliver a final blow, Goku returns to the battlefield. Goku reveals his Super Saiyan 4 transformation. He attempts to bluff the Destroyer, claiming this primal state is the Super Saiyan God. That distinct red tint of the fur and the hair is enough to convince Beerus that this might be the warrior from his premonitions. The battle resumes with a new intensity as Goku performs significantly better than his previous encounter. It appears during their first bout on King Kai's planet, Goku simply wasn't given the opportunity to tap into this level of power, since this seems to be Beerus' first time seeing this form. But even with this new primal power, the gap still remains too wide. A battered Vegeta, realizing Goku's stamina is fading, recalls the Destroyer's fixation about a Super Saiyan God. He breaks away from the battlefield to summon Shenron. Once the dragon reveals the requirements of the ritual, Vegeta takes the mantle for himself. The Super Saiyan God rises. The two rivals combine their strength to challenge Beerus in one last final stand. In this last battle, you're swapped between both Goku and Vegeta every few seconds, forcing you to utilize Goku's pressure to create openings for Vegeta's ultimate attacks. Their coordination is seamless. Two warriors who know each other's every move synchronize their efforts to protect their home. Beerus, now becoming generally annoyed by their persistence, takes flight into the upper atmosphere, intent on ending the world then and there. In a desperate final gamble, Goku and Vegeta unleash a combined assault, a Super Saiyan 4 Kamehameha and a God-infused Final Flash. The resulting explosion rocks the stratosphere, sending the combatants crashing back down on the grounds of Capsule Corp. Beerus stands up without a scratch, admitting he was never fighting at full capacity. He warns the Saiyans to continue their training and promises to return for a genuine battle with the Super Saiyan God. The scenario concludes on a light note, with Goku trying to claim the glory while Vegeta reminds him that Beerus' final challenge was directed specifically at him. I love the idea of Goku and Vegeta taking two separate paths. Keeping the Super Saiyan 4 transformation with Goku fits his Wukong roots, and giving the God form to the Prince is something I think no one is complaining about. This is where we'll wrap things up for this one. Thank you all for showing so much support to these creators and the narratives they're building. I've noticed the play counts on these battles rising, and it's great to see some finally catching the wave of the Sparking Zero algorithm. While the mode itself has its flaws, the quality of what people are making within such a limited system has been nothing short of magnificent. Now, if you have your own custom battles you want to share, make sure to drop those codes down in the comment section below. As always, I want to hear how you feel about the stories we covered this time. Where do you think the Garlic Jr. timeline goes next? And how does a young Super Saiyan Goku navigate a much harsher world where his rivals are left in the dust? If you're new here, consider dropping a like, hitting the sub button. As always, I've been your local overanalyzer Artellings, and I hope you have yourself a damn good one.